Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Sincerely Agile with Mary. As you know, on this platform, this is where we want to learn, unlearn, and relearn. It is a place where we want to make change agents of ourselves, and of course, it's a platform where we want to be awesome and wholesome together. Today, we're looking at the benefits of mentoring. And who better to join me on this conversation than Amaka Amalu, founder of Project Lead, passionate about mentoring girls. I'm just going to welcome her to the show. Hello, Amaka. Welcome to Sincerely Agile with Mary.
Hi, Mary. Good evening from this end.
Exactly.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's a real pleasure to have you here. How have you been? How have you been coping and navigating this new way of life?
Well, so far so good. To be honest, it's different. It's a totally different experience. So I have been working from home since March 2020. That's almost 2 years.
Yep.
I never had it that way. I had always been a go to office, be on the field person, but COVID has forced everyone to stay
Yeah.
home and be safe.
Yeah.
Has it been good? I would say it has really been good. I mean, I live in Lagos, Nigeria. Anything
Hmm.
to avoid the traffic and the hustle and bustle on the roads of Lagos. So, working from home has been a very good experience. Uh, I think I have been a bit too careful, about the pandemic. So I don't go out except I really have to. But it's been
Hmm.
good. Business has been good. Work has been going on pretty well. I mean, as expected, there was a pause somehow because of COVID, but thankfully everything is coming back, and I'm really grateful for that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the benefits of COVID, isn't it? I always
Exactly.
say it's a bit of a paradox, because I'm
Hmm.
also equally enjoying working from home.
I
Now,
love
on
it.
this show, we tend to have people joining us. We're
Yeah.
streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And I have someone join us already from LinkedIn, Sharon. Sharon, nice to have you here.
Hi,
And I have
Sharon.
some people, joining us on other platforms as well. Nice to have you, Sharon. Nice to have you here. Okay, so let me introduce you to our audience, Amaka.
Mhm.
So just give me a second. I'll get my banner. There you go. So, Amaka's corporate experience covers product strategy, human capital management, business development, client relationship management, and operations. She is the founder of Project Lead, a social enterprise focused on teaching and helping secondary school students discover and develop their potential for future leadership. She is passionate about community development and mentorship. She regularly consults for organizations and individuals on setting up and running corporate social responsibility initiatives. She has also been a mentor on several platforms, including Winbiz, Binging with Game Changers, e-mentorship academy, and the graduate advancement program GAP network. She has received several awards, including 100 Women Creating a Better Africa by We for Good and 50 African Women in Development by Donors for Africa. Now, Amaka, that is a lot of work. That is a lot of work. That is an impressive bio right there. How do you
Thank
do
you.
this? How do you combine all of this with your consulting work and your other activities?
Well, I'll say one thing. When you're passionate about something,
Mm-hmm.
uh, getting the strength to do that thing is usually effortless, right? So I work a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I do project lead. I still do my consulting. I'm very involved in ministry. So, I mean, it's all passion. So it doesn't feel like something is overwhelming, or I mean, sometimes I'm under pressure, but it's never overwhelming because I'm very passionate about what I do. So I see them as fun, juicy. So
Yeah.
yes, that's how. I do what I do.
And I totally can relate with what you've just said there, because if we love what we do, then it
Mhm,
doesn't really feel like work, even when we feel, there's a lot of work to get done.
mhm,
So
mhm,
that's a really good response that I can definitely relate to. I was on a
mhm.
podcast this morning, and I got asked that same question: how do I juggle
Awesome.
it? And the response is exactly the same. If you love what you do, it
Absolutely.
doesn't feel like work at all. It
Mhm,
doesn't feel like work.
mhm.
So we are really, honored to have you, and we've got more people
Okay.
join us.
Fantastic.
Okay, we have a LinkedIn user. I can't see your name there. I've got my mom watching from Arizona. Good evening,
Oh,
mommy. She's always here
oh,
whenever she
fantastic.
can. I've got Ronke also watching. She's one of my regulars. I like to call her one of my
Very,
regulars. An
very
amazing supporter.
good. Mhm.
Nice to have you here. And I've got Victoria, my daughter, who is at the university, also
Oh,
watching. Yes,
fantastic.
here to support mommy. Okay, Amaka, let me start with my questions. I have quite a few questions for you.
Okay.
Quite a few questions for you. Now, you're into mentoring, of course, and which is why you're here for this subject matter today.
Mhm.
So, tell us, what is mentoring and why is it important?
Okay, so I guess mentoring has a universal definition now, right? So I would say mentoring is relationship between two people um, with the goal of professional and personal development. So the mentor is usually an experienced individual who shares knowledge, shares resources, shares experience, and shares counsel with a less experienced person who is known as a mentee. So yes, that's typically what mentorship is.
Hmm.
Okay, so why is it important? Mentorship is very important. I'll just highlight a couple of benefits, right, of mentoring, and I'll expatiate on very few. So mentoring provides support, right? It provides support, as I said earlier, professional and personal support. Mentorship supports growth. Mentorship serves as a source of knowledge. So I'll touch on these. Mentorship serves as a source of knowledge. So mentors are usually very knowledgeable, right? Not only in their own areas of specialization, but in many other areas. And the
Hmm.
reason why this is because it's usually helpful to their mentees when they come asking questions. Mentees would not say, "Oh, my mentor is a pilot. I would ask my mentor only questions on aviation," right? A mentee typically sees a mentor as an embodiment of knowledge. So everything will be asked. So a mentor serves as a source of knowledge. Another benefit is mentors can help set goals, right? In setting those goals, mentors also maintain accountability.
Hmm.
So when you get off by yourself, you want to do life, you want to achieve so many things. Passion can get you wanting to do many things at different times, but you don't like sit down to settle in to set goals. So mentors help you set those goals and also hold you accountable to those goals. Mentors offer encouragement. I said earlier when I was defining mentorship that a mentor is someone who has very good experience in a
Hmm.
particular field, right? So encouragement that the mentor provides would be from a place of, I have experienced this in the past. Do not be afraid. This will happen. Do
Hmm.
not be afraid that this is
Yeah.
happening. It is bound to happen. However, something will come through or you will come through it. It's an obstacle. This is what you have to do to overcome. Do you see? So mentorship also provides major encouragement. I would also say that mentors help make connections.
Hmm.
Access to network is one of the key benefits of mentorship. My mentor, as I'm very proud of my mentor, I mean, I talk about him everywhere. So, my mentor, for example, will always give me books that he's sure will grow me in certain areas. My mentor will make an introduction or sometimes even set up a meeting that might not necessarily be for him, but he will set up a meeting and have me go with him for that meeting because he wants me to tap from the knowledge of the person he's meeting with, or he wants me to actually meet the person, just to provide that platform for me to to contribute intelligently for that person to see value, in maybe a recommendation or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, mentors help make connections. Mentors give you access to their network. So I would say that mentors are not insecure.
Hmm.
Mentors are not insecure. They are not scared of giving mentees access to their network.
Hmm.
However, the mentee also has the responsibility to prove himself or herself trustworthy enough to handle those relationships. So there are several benefits of mentorship. Mentors offer constructive feedback. Mentors serve as trusted allies. So I'd like to touch on this personally. I feel confidentiality is very key in a mentoring relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mentees should be able to confide in their mentors, and mentors, on the other hand, should treat information with absolute sense of responsibility and confidentiality. I mean, mentorship is, excuse me if I sound this way, but I think mentorship is beyond the physical. I think mentorship is more than physical. So it's not just someone coming to you to hear nice things. It's someone actually entrusting their lives to you, right? So mentors are trusted allies. So
Hmm.
their confidentiality should come effortless, or
Hmm.
naturally to them. So yes, I think I've mentioned a couple of
You've
benefits.
really you've just hit the nail on the head right there, touching different areas in your response. I like
Mm,
how you said it is more than physical because this person, I mean,
mm,
how does the relationship even start in the first place? A
exactly.
mentor mentee relationship. Perhaps
Mm,
as a young, girl, you're looking for someone to help you with your direction, help you with your career, and like you
mm,
said, it's your whole life you're thinking about when
mhm,
you
mhm.
approach a mentor to mentor you. So it
Right.
goes beyond the physical. And of
Mhm,
course, if you're a mentor, you are doing more than just giving your actual expertise in terms of, knowledge. It's
mhm.
about trying to make that person a whole person, like you rightly said,
Exactly.
trying to make
Exactly.
that person whole. And that is
Mm,
why on this platform, we have a very broad range of guests that we reach out to because we
mm,
talk about being awesome and wholesome. And that is where that word wholesome comes from. So I can
mhm,
really, really relate to what you're saying there. So thank you
mhm.
very much for that response. We've got more people here joining. Someone
Fantastic.
here saying me, okay, me saying hi, hello, nice to have you here. Perhaps some people also from your network as well.
Okay.
Um, this is probably someone from your network. I don't know. Nice to have you here, Labi. Nice to have you here. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. We've got Sylvia here as well. We've got
Hi.
Adamu Rachel here.
Hi,
Raquel, sorry.
Rachel.
I like to acknowledge our audience because
Of course.
taking time to join us means a whole lot to
I
us.
agree. I
Yes.
agree.
Omotayo, thank you for being here. And we
Okay.
have another LinkedIn user here. And we have Adirunke here. Thank you so much,
Hi,
Adirunke,
Ren.
for Lauren Shaw. Nice to
Yes.
have you here. Now, you are the founder of Project Lead, right? What motivated you to start Project Lead? Because this is a huge responsibility to put yourself out there to say, you know what, I'm going to step into this leadership role.
Mm,
I'm going to mentor girls to take, to step into that leadership role as well. To what's the word here? To help develop them to step into
mm,
that role. What motivated you?
hmm. For Project Lead, I'll
Mhm.
say the motivation was a personal experience. You know,
Okay.
sometimes you have to go through something to discover your assignment. Sometimes you have to go through something yourself to discover your purpose, right? So, Project Lead was birthed from a place of personal experience. So, I'll take you back to my secondary school. So,
Okay.
I've schooled in Lagos, secondary, university, primary, secondary, university. So I was made a prefect while I was in secondary school, right? And it was something I was proud of, like everyone would. Uh, Prefectship typically criteria is She's brilliant. She dresses well. She's neat. She's respectful. I mean, the regulars, right? And like I said, it was exciting. I was proud of myself. However, it was prefectship. Nobody gave me an orientation of what to expect. I wasn't handheld. Nobody told me anything, to be honest. I was just given a badge. It was an announcement. Amaka Amalu is now a health prefect, and I was given a badge, and it felt like I was thrown amongst my peers to lead them, right? And the very essence of prefectship, that I'll call leadership, the very essence is responsibility. So the fact that I didn't get an orientation, or the fact that I didn't have a guide, someone to hold me by the hand and say, this is the way to do it, this is the way to do it, this is the way to do it. It basically took away the very I grew up in a very good home, thankfully. I had this particular experience as the health prefect. It was a day after school hours. You know how it's 2 p.m., everybody's rushing to get out of school, like, oh my God, after a long day. And all of a sudden, I saw some junior students rushing into my class. Senior Amaka, something has happened. I'm like, oh my God, no. I need to just go home and rest. However, that leader in me said, let's do this. What's happening? I rushed out with them. I went to their class, and all I could see was blood. you know um so I had the responsibility as the health prefect. Apparently, a girl had put a well-sharpened pencil on a chair, and her best friend sat on it. I mean, it was not intentional, typical play. And I had the responsibility as the health prefect to sort that out. I rallied round, thankfully, there was a health center close to my school then. So I got teachers, and, it was almost confusing, because that was the first time ever I had such a responsibility. It seemed really huge at the
Mm-hmm.
time. So we took her to the hospital and all of that. I mean, my dad waited for me 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 p.m. What's happening? My daughter is not back. So he went to my school, and they told him what had happened. And my dad went straight to the hospital, right? It was 5, 6. Of course, I was there in the emergency place with her. Doctors were coming in and going out and all. And there was a time I had to breathe. I stepped out. I saw my father. It was such a relief. And I just went straight to him. But guess what my dad told me? My dad said, I'm not here to take you home. I'm just here for you to know that I am here. Whenever you are done with your responsibility, I will be here to take you home. Juicy. So for me, that was major, because I said earlier that I grew up in a very good home, thankfully. Not everyone has that opportunity. So leadership for me, my leadership training was from home. My dad was something else. I miss him. He's late now, but he was such a disciplinarian. Like, you're given an assignment, you will do that assignment to the extent that you're expected to, and you would even exceed it. My
Absolutely.
mom, my mom is an educationist. So my house was just not that kind of house so leadership started from my house. So for me, I just kept thinking, like, what if I didn't have a father, that would put me. So after that incident, and I got home, of course, I rested and slept. And then the next day we had that conversation. How did you feel? How did you feel that, this just came up and you just had to deal with it? And then he just started to put me through, okay, so when things like this happen, this is what you should do. These are the people you should, talk to, the appropriate quarters. I mean, that was just how. So for me, I was like, okay, so there's no orientation, there is no hand holding, there is no subject that teaches us leadership. There are no specific topics that touch on leadership. So why don't I step in, and do something about it? So first, for the prefects who think prefectship is all about wearing the badge and feeling cool in school, to actually let them know that prefectship is not, in Nigeria, we say it's not beans. It's not just a mere title. It's a major leadership role that you should
It
treat
is.
with absolute responsibility. So yes, that's my story, and that was how Project Lead was birthed. And I just thought, you know what? Okay, so I started my career, and everything got busy. But it was the time I took a career break, and I said to myself, Amaka, this thing must not die. You know, you've always wanted to do this, so I had to throw myself back in. I that was when I started building Project Lead,
Hmm.
and yes, there you have it.
When was the seed to actually do something about it? When was that seed planted? Was it during that crisis? Was it after your dad had that conversation with you? Or was it, much later after you had completed secondary school?
It was after my dad had that conversation with me. I knew that, okay, so if this man is taking his time to put me through this, then it's something to actually really learn. You know, it's something that should be learned to be applied in life, in every
Hmm.
aspect of life. You know, so I mean that seed was planted, you know, at the point that my dad had that conversation with me.
Thank you. More people are joining us. Some people from your network are here.
That's right.
Chioma, and that's
Oh,
my darling sister-in-law. Go sis, we're proud of you. We're proud of her indeed. She's doing a great job. Some other people joining. Joanne is here again. Joanne, nice to see you here
hi,
today again.
Juan.
Nice to have you here. I am here, leadership. Absolutely, absolutely. Leadership all the way. Okay,
Mhm.
so more questions for you.
Okay.
Why the focus on the girl child?
Hmm.
Are you being biased here? Is it because you're a woman?
Um, okay, so I'll put out a disclaimer. I am not one of those people that claim feminism. I do not think there's anything wrong with that.
Hmm.
However, I am not everything it's about the girl. No. Boys are equally extremely important, and that is the honest truth.
Yeah.
I'll say something. Someone said, if you're focusing so much on the girls and nobody's doing anything about the boys, who will the girls marry? The
Thank
boys
you
that
so
nobody has done
much.
anything about?
Thank
So
you so much. That is such that is on the money. That answer, that response is on the money.
so really, it's not because I'm female, but I just feel that girls play multiple roles in the household, right? In the society and in the economy. I'm glad that upholding the rights of the girl has seen increased support, you know, so the UN, SDGs, and all of that. Uh, at the moment, today, equal numbers of boys and girls are receiving primary education. I see in most of the world, but few countries have achieved that target. Very few countries at all levels of education. Even when girls are encouraged to continue their education, they face major challenges that make it difficult for them to attend regularly, sometimes receiving an unequal share of the household tasks due to customary practices in many regions of the world.
Hmm.
Do you see? So, though life for the girl child is thankfully steadily improving, many are still subjected to horrific practices. You know, there are issues of female genital mutilation, there are issues of son preference, as we know, often resulting in female infanticide. There's the issue of child marriage, there's
Hmm.
sexual exploitation and
Hmm.
abuse. I mean, girls are also more likely to experience discrimination in food allocation and healthcare, and they are often outpaced and outranked by boys in all spheres of life. If we're being honest, right? Um, I think these and many more reasons are why major advocacy and interventions have been put in place for the girl child. So
Yeah.
it's not again because the girls are better than the boys. It just feels like the girls have suffered so much over time, have been denied so much over time, and it's not a making up, it's not a compensation, it's just a doing the right thing now
Absolutely.
since it wasn't done before.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
why the focus on the girl child? That's it right there. That's it right there. Mhm.
And I like how you also touched on how, from the family perspective, that the girl child might be more overwhelmed with domestic chores. I think
Yes.
that mindset is shifting. I mean, I've got three girls and a boy. My last two, I sort of have a gap between my first two and my last two. So my first two are close in age, my last two are close in age as well. And when it comes to the household chores, they do it in equal measure. One boy, one girl, they do it in equal measure. There's no preference that because you are my only son, I love you, no doubt about that. But I mean, when it comes to domestic chores, it's all in equal measure. So more parents should do more of that. And I think that is changing. The whole, the days where we felt, oh, because you're a girl, you have to be the one in the kitchen. My son cooks. Since my daughter went to the university, he's cooking for me. I mean, I still cook occasionally, but sometimes I'm like, I'm hungry, please, can you fix me something? Yes. And one of the things my daughter said to him when she was going to uni was that you have to fix mommy some food now, whether you like it or not, kind of thing. You have to do
All
more of
right.
it because she was doing more of the cooking. But when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the, cleaning and everything, it was all done in equal measure. So I think we need to be mindful of that. We really do
I
need to be
agree.
mindful of that.
I
Yeah.
agree.
More comments from our audience. I love what you are doing, Image Foundation. Okay. um, Thanks, Amaka, for the leadership role you played in your secondary school.
Yay,
Greater
thanks.
heights in Jesus' name. Amen. Ifan, well done. Amen.
Thank you.
And another person here, I believe, from your network, and we have a LinkedIn user there, but no name.
All
Now,
right.
Project Lead, you
Hmm.
are the founder of Project Lead.
Mhm.
What are the key mentoring areas that you focus on within your foundation?
Hmm. Um, okay, so key mentoring areas, I would say leadership and life skills,
Okay.
employability, and entrepreneurship skills. So we have existing initiatives that address these skills. So for the leadership and life skills, obviously skills are what some people know as soft skills.
Yeah.
So these are seemingly insignificant things as compared to technical skills. Do you see? So being a doctor is cool, but being a doctor with empathy is rare.
Very rare.
You see, being a teacher is really cool. Being a teacher that is tolerant might be rare.
Hmm.
So, technical skills are great. However, we need these leadership skills, soft skills, behavioral skills to make the most of the technical skills that we have learned in school.
Absolutely.
So the key mentoring areas, as I mentioned earlier, leadership and life skills, and then employability and entrepreneurship skills. So employability skills are those skills that strategically position you to be employable, if I would put
Mm-hmm.
it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So having a law degree doesn't make you employable. Having a language degree doesn't make you employable, right? What are those things? What are those areas? How do you dress, to look the part? How do you speak to look the part? How do you sit? How do you react to issues?
Mm-hmm.
Those employability skills and then entrepreneurship skills. So I believe everyone is an entrepreneur, whether you run your business or you have the responsibility of running someone else's business. Everyone should have an entrepreneurial mindset and an ownership mindset, if I'll use another word for it. So even though we have, I mean, our girls in fact, two of them, I was meant to attend the matriculation recently, but it was postponed. Yes, both of them are getting into University of Lagos, and I am super proud. One is to study English, and one is to study economics. So I feel like a mother, you know. So, even though they are getting up to study these courses, right? And even though most of our girls are still in secondary school, we also
Yeah.
intentionally expose them to different other areas,
Hmm.
right? So we have something we call Project Lead Knowledge Session. This is an initiative that helps us go to different industries and different companies just to learn what they do. I mean, in this day and age, the fact that you studied medicine doesn't mean you will practice medicine. There are a lot of medical
True.
doctors that are marketers. There are a lot of medical doctors that are digital people. There are a lot of medical doctors that are creatives.
Hmm.
There are a lot of lawyers that, I mean, Funke Bokno is a lawyer. She is the most brilliant events planner that I know, right? And there are a lot of them like that. So entrepreneurship skills are very important. So you want to study a particular course, however, let's expose you to coding, let's expose you to PR, public
Yeah.
relations, let's expose you to trade and investment, let's expose you to computer stuff. I mean, so those are the key mentoring areas. And like I said, we have existing initiatives that address these areas. So we have like the project lead youth leadership program, we have the project lead clusters, we have the project lead knowledge session, and a couple of other initiatives.
Hmm.
And it's just very fulfilling to see the change and the major impact that it's causing.
Absolutely. You're touching lives, obviously. You're helping
Mhm.
them shape their future. I like that you touched on how a lawyer could be an event planner. Now, is this also coming from what traditionally we know happens in our environment, where, as parents, you want your son to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer? We are not particularly nurturing or listening to our children. I mean, some people want to be musicians. Their parents will be like, musician, no
Mhm.
way. You go and be a doctor,
Mhm.
go and be a lawyer. So I would like to believe that at some point you're also perhaps educating parents to listen more to their children, but we'll come to that later.
Okay,
Um,
so I'd like to mention, interestingly,
yeah.
our conference last year, we had a great mix of panelists for the
Hmm.
day two. So we have this annual conference for the International Day of the Girl Child,
Okay.
and day two, our speakers were all undergraduate entrepreneurs. Mary, it was such an exciting thing for me. So we had a lawyer who sews, well, a law student who sews. We had a mass communication student who does makeup. We had a medical student who bakes. We had an environmental student who does crafts. I mean, amazing stuff. Amazing. So at that particular session, day two, I also mentioned about parents just leaving their children to thrive in their own spaces. To be honest, I feel it's a total waste of time for my child to spend 7, 8 years in medical school and come out to be a poet or to be a spoken words creative person. I think it's just a waste of time.
Because they
I
could
would
have
rather,
started from the beginning, they could
exactly,
have gone to uni to actually learn poetry.
honestly, and
Yeah.
then they'll use the other years to master the art of poetry. So again, I agree, we should be really talking to parents, because we may think that's all gone, but it's still here with us. Some parents still insist on their children studying some particular courses,
Hmm.
and I think it's just an unfair treatment on children, right? So I guess
It
we'll touch
is.
on that later.
Exactly. Let's see, we've got more comments here.
Yay.
Um, okay, hello, nice to have you here. Young girls need to know they can be leaders too. Absolutely. They need to know they
Absolutely.
can be leaders too. And we that have gone ahead of them, we need to empower them. We need to support them.
Mhm.
So true about the challenges faced by the girl child.
Mhm.
Absolutely, it is true. Yemi says, I love what you're doing. Okay, I think I've seen that already. Thanks, Amaka. Yes, I think I've seen
We've
that
seen
already.
that.
Okay, so let's go back to more questions for you. Um, what are the challenges? What are the successes? Just, maybe one each. I mean, you've talked about some of the successes just now, but what challenges have you faced, with Project Lead in, our environment?
Challenges. Okay, so I think I should touch a little on successes. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, success is always hinged on the testimonials of change and impact that are directly tied to the initiatives we have launched since
Mm-hmm.
inception. I look at some of our girls now, the way they communicate, the way they think, the way they react to situations, the way they self-validate, the way they do a lot of things. And I'm asking myself, I knew this girl 3 years ago, and it was absolutely nothing close to what I see now. So for me, testimonials of change and impact. Challenges. Okay, so for me, challenges, I would say mindsets, and in extension, the environment. I mean, we still live in an environment that is still quite focused on academics, right? And thereby neglecting the seemingly insignificant aspect of soft skills. So once you have your certificates in the environment that we're in, you're good. Even if you have major character and behavioral flaws that could have been addressed through mentoring and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this earlier, medical doctors who are mean and cranky,
Yep.
teachers who are absolutely intolerant, and a lot more examples.
Absolutely.
At my former workplace, I remember that I instituted a behavioral assessment interview phase, and that was part of the recruitment stage. It was very important for me to understand how people react to situations, outside of their certificates of study.
Yeah.
You see, so major challenge would be mindset, which is based on the environment that we found ourselves in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd also mention funding. So because our target audience are children from low-income homes who do not have the required digital infrastructure, such as mobile devices, stable electricity, and also access online education. So this has limited the amount of participants. We're very open to partnerships, of course, with individuals, the government, corporate organizations, people that are very willing and committed to do more,
Mm-hmm.
for our young people to begin to internalize leadership skills that will help them thrive in their adulthood. So yeah, right.
Fantastic. I mean, I know those challenges are there without a doubt. And,
Mhm.
we have often said time and time again, it is important that we, work on our soft skills, emotional intelligence, social
Ah,
intelligence, relationship
mhm,
intelligence, all of
absolutely.
those stuff are important. You can have a first class degree and be a very difficult person to work with. You
Oof.
can put a team of people together, a group of people together,
Mhm,
and making a team out of them becomes a nightmare because they just lack social skills. So for
mhm.
me, social, the soft skills, if you like, they are the icing on the cake. It doesn't matter what
I
degree
agree.
we have. If we don't
I
have
agree.
all of those, it's going to be very difficult for us to
Mhm,
navigate social our
mhm,
social life and our work life. Good
absolutely.
response there, Maka. So you talked about, you sort of touched on this, girls from low income environments. Because my
Mhm.
question here is, how have you leveraged technology and high social media connectivity for mentoring?
Okay, so upon COVID,
Mm,
every forward thinking organization had to quickly leverage digital infrastructure to keep going, right? And we did the same. However, our case is quite unique because we had to be extra careful and sensitive to the financial status of our target audience,
mm-hmm,
public secondary school students. So typically, most of these girls do not have mobile devices. They do, even for those who have, they do not have the money to buy data, and all of that. So we have pretty much taken on that responsibility to fund. So I do that myself, and then I have family and friends who are very interested and committed, to what I'm doing. So periodically, I have people say, Amaka, for data for the children, data for the children, and all of that. Um, we use WhatsApp as our major community engagement platform. WhatsApp is easy, it doesn't consume a lot of data. WhatsApp can be installed on not, it doesn't have to be an expensive smartphone, to have WhatsApp. So we use WhatsApp to engage our community. We also have a podcast platform, Anchor. We use Anchor, and we have, okay, that's where our project lead clusters is uh, is done. So we use Anchor FM. The sessions of the maiden edition of the Youth Leadership Program, we have
mm.
that on YouTube, and we're also very active on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So we're in people's
Fantastic.
faces, right? We're in people's faces when we do things, even if they can't join online. These girls,
Mm,
because I mean they are young girls, they are teenagers, they are in their adolescents, they are all on those social media platforms, right? So they get
absolutely.
information however they need to get those information. And we get feedback on how those things have helped them. So
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well done. You're doing a lot.
thank
Now,
you.
You have been instrumental in the lives of the girls that you have mentored. Who are the key people that have been instrumental in yours? At least two.
Okay, so I'd mentioned my mentor earlier. His name is Patrick Nwakogo. He's the
Okay.
CEO of Dale Carnegie Nigeria. He's my mentor, and I am not one of those people. Not like I don't believe you should have mentors in different areas of your life. I mean, some people have financial mentors, marital mentors, career mentors, and they just pretty much have people, a lot of people that have access to their lives. I'm a very confidential person, so maybe that is what has, made me be like that. So I have one mentor, and his name is Patrick Makugo, and truth is, he's my mentor all the way. So financial, career, physical, spiritual, financial, investment, everything. So he's one person that has been very instrumental in my life. And I said
Fantastic.
something earlier that mentoring is beyond the physical, to
It
be
is.
honest. So I'll say something. I had a session with him on Friday, I think maybe on Thursday, on Friday, and there was something I had told myself that I would speak to him about. And guess what happened, Mary? When I started to talk to him, he was laughing. And after I finished, I asked him, I was like, why are you laughing? He said that he couldn't wait for me to finish talking because the scripture that he used during Bible study in his home with his children and his wife, right? That he will read that scripture to me. And I tell you, as soon as he read that scripture to me, that was the answer that I needed to that issue that I was going through at the time. So you see that it's just beyond giving someone access to your life to just talk and talk and talk, you know. I'll just leave it there. So I'll
It's
mention
about the
that.
whole person. It's about the whole person.
Yes, yes,
It's about
yes.
the whole
It's
person.
it's it's about the
Thank you,
whole
Amaka.
person. So aside Patrick, I've
Mm.
also exposed myself to books. I mean, there are authors that have mentored me. They don't know I'm their mentee, but they are my mentor.
Exactly.
So again, people don't have to think that they must have a physical mentor. I have people that are mentors I have observed over time
Mhm.
because I love the way they dress, for example. I love the way they speak. I love the way they comport themselves in meetings. So really,
Mm.
so mhm.
I just want to highlight, so thank you very much, Amaka. I want to highlight some comments here. Well done, Amaka. Really impressive work being
Thank
done.
you. Thank you.
Companies should be intentional about behavior
Mm,
assessment as part of the interview process, which will then emphasize its importance. Absolutely, if they mandate it. Our educational system has a big role to play, unfortunately. We are not tailored. We are not tailored to teach soft skills as part of our curriculum. Absolutely.
agree.
Volunteering really helped me to build life skills. I
Um,
cannot stop volunteering. Absolutely. That is
nice,
another way to
lovely.
do it. That's another way
Hmm.
to do it. Education is great, but it's equally great to hear that people are doing things that make their heart happy. Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
then I have a comment here. I do not agree that it is unfair to help direct children to study certain courses in university. Passion is one of those things that can be lost. Many times, however, it takes a while for passion to pay the rent. Now, what do you say to this perspective?
I agree. So truth is, parents are major voices in a child's life, right? So I agree that passion is one of those things, and I also agree that passion cannot pay the rent,
Or
in
may not pay the rent. May
or may
not pay
not
the rent.
pay the rent, because there are some passions that are paying rent and running things. But I agree, and I understand what Michael is saying. Um, I had a major situation, with
Mm,
a project leader. That's what we call our girls, project leaders. So I had a major situation where the girl said, "Oh, Miss Amaka, I want to do this. My father is saying I should do so, so, and so. I want to do this. And I'll be honest with you, what I said to the child. I said, whatever your father has said you should do, make sure you do it. That is, if your convincing has not changed his mind. And I said to her, when you're convincing someone, you need facts and figures, and you need to have the compelling comportment of someone that can do what she's saying she can do. You see? But I said to her, if convincing has not done the work, then I think you should do exactly what your dad has said you should do. However, do not lose what you're passionate about. In your spare time, keep adding value to yourself in that area. Keep adding value to yourself in that area. My dad used to say something. Get a university degree and then get off to do whatever it is you want to do.
That
That's what
is
my dad used to say.
to a great extent. I think they are coming from a point of, just you having that foundation and that security and
Yes.
something to fall back on.
Go
Should
back
your
on.
passion, should your
Yes.
passion not pay off?
Yes, dust your certificate and get back to corporate space. My dad
Exactly.
used to say it, get your degree and then you can walk away and do whatever it is you want to do. Do you see?
And for me, I must say I'm quite biased towards university education, but it
Mm,
doesn't mean that I'm also not in support of any passion that anyone might have. For
mhm,
example, all my children, they're doing what they want to do. I mean, I'm not the kind of parent
mhm.
that will say you have to be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, but
Exactly.
I
Mhm,
also know how I have benefited from having a university degree. I have two university degrees, as a
mm,
matter of fact. I have two BScs and I have a
mm.
master's degree. So I'm quite an academic person. Not everybody
Fantastic.
is quite academic, but
Mhm.
I can see the foundation that has laid for me.
Honestly.
And then talking about taking your
Mhm,
certificate and dusting it and going to do whatever it is you want to do, I took a break from, my career at some point. I went into
mhm.
entrepreneurship. I was a restaurant owner. When I got tired of that, I took my certificate and I started my journey all over again.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
can also relate to that. I can also
Mhm.
relate to that.
I think I
Um,
should also mention
yeah.
something, Mary. Our environment doesn't
Mm.
help people fail, and
Yes.
our environment doesn't help people actually say they have failed.
Hmm.
There are entrepreneurs that are struggling,
Hmm.
but as you know, everything is a stigma in Nigeria.
Everything.
Everything is stigma in Nigeria. If you dust your if you say, you know what, I'm done with entrepreneurship and I'm going back to work, they'll say, hey, the person has failed.
He has
The
failed.
person is
Hmm. We
no
told
good.
we told him not to start that
Told
business.
him that, so the environment doesn't encourage failure.
Yeah.
Every environment should encourage failure.
Mm.
Not
Mm.
because failure is a good thing, but it's just good for you to know that, oh, I haven't done well in this.
Mm.
However, people need to know I haven't done well in this, learn the lessons and let me do something better.
Absolutely. It's
You
not
see?
about failing,
So
it's about feedback that we get from
exactly,
what
it's
passing
not
the work.
about the failure, it's
Yes,
about
it's the
getting back on
learning.
your feet, learning.
It's
It's
about the
about
learning.
taking the lessons.
Absolutely. Buki here says most of these changes only happen outside Nigeria. Back home, the guys are still being seen as princes and excluded from a lot of domestic chores. Not my son. My son is
Well,
doing a
well,
lot of
well. Most
domestic
most
chores.
homes, most homes. I mean, we're not generalizing. Most homes
Yeah,
also still have
they,
that.
they, they do.
You
They
just need
do.
to talk to parents. Parents need to do better.
They need to do better. Absolutely. Because you see, what you're essentially um, telling that chap that you're treating as a prince is that he shouldn't help his wife. These are the kind of men that, later on in life, their wife will be the one doing everything because they believe they are
Everything.
now the king of the house, of the home. They don't help their wives. So we should be mindful of all of that. And I like the fact that you said it's not just about mentoring the girl child, it's about also teaching our boys how to become men you know
Absolutely.
how to become men, how to treat a woman right. I tell my son no is a full sentence. Okay, by the
I
time your
agree.
son is start hitting 18, 17, I have a
Mhm,
son who is 17 going on 18.
mhm.
No is a full sentence. I let him know how to treat a girl, how to
Uh-huh.
be exactly how to be a gentleman, and how, no is no. Because you don't go around with your children, you don't know what is happening. We've heard
Exactly.
all sorts of stories about, all sorts happening. So we really have
Hmm.
to teach our boys how to
Hmm.
be men, from a woman's
I agree.
perspective. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
their fathers also have a huge role to play.
To
To,
play.
they have
Right.
a huge role to play, because they will just model what they see. They
I
will
agree.
model what they see, and the cycle
Mm-hmm.
will continue, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very, very important. Now, project lead is doing an amazing job,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. And I'm sure there are other, NGOs, foundations doing
Mm-hmm.
amazing things like
Of
this
course.
also.
Of course.
But when we look at the problems, let's focus on Nigeria for a minute now.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the problems within Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
our population, our youth population, I think the statistics is like, we've got about over 45% or 50. And the
Mm-hmm.
projection is that by 2050, our population is going to double. So just take a
Exactly.
second and imagine that for a minute, what the
Mm-hmm.
population of our youth will look like in 2050.
Mm-hmm.
So what so what that simply means to me is that we need more project leads. Do
I
you
agree.
see?
I
I- I-
totally agree. Mm-hmm.
if I had a magic wand, we would have to clone project leads, into every corner of Nigeria.
I know.
So,
I know.
what are your plans to scale project lead? Or what are you
Okay.
doing to at least extend it a little bit more than you're doing currently? Because you're doing an amazing job. How can we have more of that?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary. Okay, so someone mentioned earlier, I can't remember the name of the person who said that, but she said that the curriculum is not helping in any way. And I mean that's what I'll just jump on. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
curriculum that we have at the moment does not have any specific subject that addresses major leadership and life skills, so for long-term plans, in partnership with state governments, we
good,
intend to run our youth leadership programs in secondary schools. So we
fantastic.
are open to, of course, conversations with state governments, especially the education and youth ministries, and would also be very happy to run this program in private schools, private
Mm-hmm,
secondary schools.
mm-hmm,
It's a 10 weeks course with 20 lessons and an evaluation exercise. And it can actually be spread all through an academic session. So that is our number one long-term plan, to work with state governments to be able to run our youth leadership programs in secondary schools. So you
fantastic.
said something about cloning project lead and having project leads, available everywhere. Someone said something about volunteering, and even before project lead started, I had always volunteered in things that people are doing. I still volunteer. Yesterday I spent about 2 hours with a friend of mine who has a major social enterprise somewhere in Jakonde around Lekki. She's doing such an amazing job, and I just thought, you know what, let me go and spend some time with the children. So volunteering is major. There's this entitlement, no, not entitlement, there's this ownership mindset that a lot of people have. So if I am not the founder, I will not be involved, and I,
Mm-hmm,
I just think it stifles growth and it stifles
absolutely.
impact. So we're calling on volunteers. I mean, for anyone who is interested in what we're doing, for anyone who feels like they can add value to what we're doing, I'm very open. I mean, I have a fantastic team, and we're always willing to welcome more people to join us. So that's the number one long-term plan. One
Mm,
other thing that we plan to do long-term is to have, well, that's not so long-term. That's like
mm,
short-term. To have an annual prefects conference in every state in Nigeria,
mm.
an annual prefects conference. So
That's
there
good.
we'll have prefects representatives from different schools. We'll have them sit under the teaching of major professionals, so career and business professionals who have been successful in their leadership roles. We need to get back the very essence of prefectship into
Mm-hmm.
these students. The
Yep.
very essence which is purpose, the very essence which is responsibility,
Yep.
you know. And I mean, to just help them not think of prefectship as a mere position of status and pride. It's beyond that. it's way more than that. You know, it's service, it's giving
Absolutely.
yourself to make people
Absolutely.
better. So yes, to have
Absolutely.
that annual prefects conference in every state in Nigeria is one of the major things that we're also trying to achieve.
Fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic. Catching them young, isn't it?
Yes.
Catching them young,
Yes,
that is so
please.
important.
Yes.
And volunteering, that is also
Mhm.
so important. I mean,
Mhm.
when I went back to uni here, I used to go and volunteer in a training center just to sharpen my
Fantastic.
skills and to,
Yes.
also help because these were young girls also.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that we give of our time. But I
I agree.
find that in our environment, again, it is not very common. It's like people need to be
Mm.
rewarded most of the time, and you can't really blame people because I mean, life is tough, but
I
it's a
agree.
mindset shift that is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, when we talk about nation building, it's every little helps, right? Every
Yeah.
little helps.
Yes.
Amaka, we are coming to the top of the hour. This is her LinkedIn profile. Link up
Yay.
with her. As you can see, she's doing an amazing job. Amaka, are you still there? You froze for a minute here.
I
And I
am.
believe
I am. Can you hear me?
we have some more comments here.
Okay, great.
Amaka is doing God's work. Absolutely. Bravo to her and all
Thank you,
she's
Chichi.
doing. Ronke says, love what you said, Amaka. See being a prefect as service and not a title.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Otherwise, they will come into politics with that mindset. It is true.
Exactly.
It is
Exactly.
true. You
Exactly.
know, it is true. Sharon, on failure, there is a Michael Jordan quote where he says he lost almost 300 games, has failed over and over, and that is why
Exactly.
he's a success. Failure is
Brilliant.
part of our journey. It is definitely
Mm-hmm.
part of our journey. Joy, unfortunately, Nigeria or Africa to say had killed many passions. People tend to explore and become successful in their passions when they travel out. Some points there
That
too.
is changing. That is changing,
That is
thankfully.
changing. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is changing. As a parent, one of the things we tell our girls is education is something no one can take away from them. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean you cannot pursue your passion. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Education is key. I have benefited from it. Failure is a big part of learning. Yes, it is. Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. Like I said, we are coming to the top of the hour. Amaka, I'm definitely going to be supporting your foundation. That's for sure.
Yay, thank you,
Um,
Mary.
where can we find you aside from LinkedIn? Do you have a website?
Okay,
Can,
yes. So we do have a website. We have our website is projectleadfoundation.org.
okay, because
Projectleadfoundation.org. We're
okay,
at Project Lead NG on LinkedIn. We're
okay,
at Project Lead. No, sorry, we're at Project Lead on LinkedIn. We're at Project Lead NG on Instagram. We are at Project Lead on Facebook, and we're at Project Lead NG on Twitter.
okay. So
Do you want me to
everyone,
go over
thank you
that
so much.
again?
Well, it's a recorded session. We
Okay,
haven't got much time left. However,
fantastic.
link up with her. As you can see, she's doing an amazing job in
Thank
Nigeria.
you. Mm-hmm.
And there's this popular saying that ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do
Mm,
for your country. This is
mm,
an opportunity to help build the nation. When you
mm,
build a woman, when you build a girl child, when you develop a girl child, you are essentially developing the nation. So let us
mm.
extend whatever support we can to
Thank
Project
you.
Lead. We will be helping, a great deal. This is just amazing. I absolutely love it. So thank you so much, Amaka, for spending
Thank
your
you.
evening with me on
Thank
Sincerely
you.
Agile with Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. To our
No.
audience, I can't thank you enough. I say this all the time and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Spending your evening with me every Sunday, I absolutely love it. And let's just continue to be awesome and wholesome together. So,
Thank
everyone,
you.
have a good evening. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of your
you.
evening. And
Have a
Amaka,
lovely
thank
evening,
you so
everyone.
much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for being with
Mary.
us on the show. Thank you. Bye
Thank you,
bye,
Mary.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.